What's up? So, um, I had some fun last night. Went down to the shop. Mm, pardon me, had to get a sip of my coffee this morning. But I went down to the shop and I did some die grinder work. My um, echo scales, I wasn't quite happy with the way they turned out. So I took them down to the shop and kind of ground on them a little bit. And I had, I don't know if you remember, but I had these scales these are from a TwoSun. And when I originally got the TwoSun, they had like a paint on them. You can still kind of see it on the back here. They had like a paint on them. And so I sanded all that paint off. It was like a bronze color. And you can kind of see it here where the pivot goes. It's like a bronze color was in there. But I took them down and die grind them. I don't know, kind of a tiger pattern I put on there. And then, last but not least, I've got a video coming on this Kaiser shoal, and my screwdriver slipped, and I scratched it here. And so I kind of polished that scratch out, and then all three of these tumbled in the tumbler for about 6 hours. I put them in the tumbler with some ceramic media and tumbled them for about 6 hours. So they really feel smooth and knocked off. I mean, a really nice finish. And it sort of gave these like a semi stonewash finish. Yeah, very nice. So I'm going to put them all together. And yeah, one at a time. I'm just going to put them together and we'll take a look at the final results. I'm going to grab the first one. Okay, that's not it. This is horrible content. It's like, let me grab this, let me grab that. And it's nothing to y'all. All right, I've got the fixings of a knife in here. Yeah, this is the echo. Let's put the echo together. All right, so I think we're gonna go button scale down. There we go. Got all the little pieces and parts in here. I think I'll put these spacers on first. Actually, that's a lanyard hole. So that goes there. That's right. I forget sometimes with these, so let's take that out. Let's get a screw in here. Man, I almost pulled the trigger, and I think it might be what got me working on this piece. I almost bought the other day a titanium Echo, the upgraded version with the S90V, and it's not a cheap knife. And I found a used one, and I almost pulled the trigger on it. I got the price down quite a bit. Kind of confused on what's going on here, but I think that's it. Like so. And then this is for the lanyard. That goes there. And the pivot. And it's captured Well, it's faux captured. It's not actually captured. It just looks like it's captured. All right. Yeah, you know, when I thought this when I took it apart, that I got to clean this hardware before I put this back together. And then, of course, here I am. You forget, you know, it's like, well, let's clean that hardware. That's why it's maybe a good example of don't put off, right? Like, because I remember thinking it now. I got to clean all this because it was kind of dirty in this knife when I took it apart. And I thought, man, when I put it back together, I got to clean it. And then, of course, you forget. And then you're putting it back together and it's funky. All right. Blade 2. Oop, lose my spring. Yeah, so I think that's what got me motivated. And once I started doing this one, I thought, well, I need to fix the scratch in this one. And then I wanted to fix those because I had kind of sanded these, and the black paint was kind of showing through. You'll see it on the pocket clip on that one when we put it back together because I'm going to leave the pocket clip the way it is. I think it looks kind of cool the way that it washed out when I sanded it. But once I got thinking about this one, I thought, man, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do that one, and I kind of made my way to the shop and just spent the evening with the die grinder working on these. And then, of course, you know, once I got them ground up, then it's pretty easy to. I just toss them in that media and get them in my little tumbler. And I really like my little tumbler. I should, maybe I'll pause the video and show a little bit of that because I think pretty highly of that tumbler. There's a lot of them in the market, but this one is just about as simple as it gets, and really does help to provide a finish on a piece. All right, I think we're ready. Oh, that kind of popped. Let's get that lined up right. Here we go. And then this knife requires Loctite on this pivot. It really does. There's quite a bit on that screw, so I'll try it without putting new on it. I don't know if it'll work or not. We'll see. Yeah, okay. Um, there we go. But yeah, the pivot on this Echo tends to work its way loose, and so it ends up getting a little Loctite on it to keep it solid. So let me check these screws, make sure we're tight everywhere. The difference is I did not use the die grinder on it on the first time and get the depths in these little chunk outs. I just did it up here off the bench, and it was kind of just on the surface. So it felt kind of gritty, but it didn't really have any depth. And I can tell you already, I like this a bunch more. Yeah. I think I can get this just another little eighth of a turn, maybe. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, did that turn out nice. All right, next. Let's do the next one. I am going to get rid of that. And I'll put this piece right here. I don't know which one I'm going to grab next. I just stored the stuff in a little box. TwoSun. Okay. Get rid of that box. Let's we're gonna go from the bottom to the top. I'm gonna wipe this one too, because I'm pretty sure when I disassembled it, I didn't wipe anything down. And I really like this TwoSun. I have it in a G10 version, and then I came across this titanium version, but it was painted, and it was like, man, I really kind of pained over, do I want it? See, there's the black paint. I kind of sanded through it, and it highlighted, sort of shadow boxed the paint on the clip. But I kind of painted over it because I didn't really, like, it had, I think, a skull or something. Trying to think of like a cartoon character skull or something that was on it. The knife was customized with that. But that's kind of a unicorn. Like, you don't see a lot of these, and so I thought, well, I can always just sand that off and get rid of it, I guess. And so I kind of put up with it for a minute, and then I was like, nah, I got to do something with it. It's just a little too far out there for me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like this one too a lot better than the finish that was on there. Yeah, even the hardware coming through on these scales now with kind of a natural look to them. I think I'm gonna like it. Really nice big stop pin, big fat, heavy duty. Hey, the reason that I don't, and I need to figure it out, but unfortunately, the reason I didn't film the die work, the die grinder, is because I'm just not set up to film down at that other shop. And where, this is simple, it's easy. I've got, a setup for the camera, and, you know, that environment, I just don't have anything set up. So I kind of need to figure that out, because a lot of work does go on down in that shop versus up on this bench. I mean, it's where I really tinker. And so I need to get to a place where I can share that. and make that part of the channel. There we go. Should be a little T6 right here. Come on now. Everybody wants to go to the party. I'm going to go with that for tension. We'll see. There's no way to really know. I didn't take a reference before, so get a little bit on that detent ball track. I believe this is a model, what is it, like a model 17, I think? Got quite a bit of wiggle in there. Yep, still. And that lock isn't near good enough. Let's, I'm going to pull this off. Let's get a little more tension on that lock bar. I've also got a setup to do some hand finish on blade stock, and I've been debating whether to do it in here or down at that shop. And you know, the fact that it's climate controlled here and I've got all the comfort, you know, the creature comforts, and I don't have any of that down at the shop. There's no heat, there's no air. I do have a fan, and I got some tunes set up, you know, so I can get some music on, and, you know, got good lighting, you know, so I have some of what I need. Plus I can make a mess out there where this environment's really not about the mess. Not at all. Let me, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm gonna have to, I think I gotta flip-flop some components here because the blade appears off-centered and doesn't appear to be running well. I also think that detent is way too tight now. And one of the things I noticed, yeah, that's just way too much. I'm going to have to take that out. But one of the things I noticed is it appears that this metal insert can turn. So I'm going to check that. I got to take it out right now to get some tension off of that lock bar. But does this move? Maybe not. But let's get some tension off of that, because that was extreme. Oh, yeah, it was way too much, man. Let's try that. Be right back. Okay, so I thought so. I suspected that there was buildup in here. Could be from the tumbling. It could be from when I was working on it with the die grinder. But yeah, there was quite a bit of debris in there. Yeah, quite a bit of stuff going on in there. And so that most definitely will affect how that lines up and all that fits. So I've got this side correct, and I'll check the other side as well. And I put a little sanding on the washer. Just the backside. Just to smooth that off on the backside, make sure there's no burrs and that's correct. And I'm going to do the same to the other side as well. All right, back on the knife. Where's my big fat stop pin? It's in the scale. I'm going to leave it in there. Seems to like it. Let's check this one. Yeah, there is a bunch of buildup in here too. Okay. I think we're going to like it better. Let's do the back side of this washer. See, what got me thinking to sand these when I'm dragging it across this mat, it feels like it's hanging up, which kind of tells me the back, yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that had quite the burr on it. And so that definitely could affect how it lines up in the knife. Faux show. Yeah, I don't know what that burr was from, but it was there. But it's gone now. All right. Let's see if we don't line up now. Because we were struggling there for a minute. Yeah. Mucho better. Let's get a screw in here. I mean, it's locked up super tight. Let's put the pocket clip on. I think I'm ready to move on. All right, well, let's look at this one. So I I had previously worked on this backspacer and sanded it down, so it's got an interesting kind of bronze look to it. Even though it's titanium, it's still got like some of the paint is still behind it, and I decided I'm going to leave that. It's kind of a neat contrast. And then the pocket clip's got some of the black paint that's left behind. And then, of course, down in that cutout for the tension on the lock bar, that's got some black in it. And so I decided to leave it. Just some small highlights on it. But yeah, I like this 1,000,000% better than what it was before. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. 1,000,000%. Very cool. I dig it. And I rough ground, like I can smooth grind those grinds, but I purposely rough ground them. And then, like I say, I stone tumbled it for about 6 hours. So it's incredibly smooth in hand. I mean, everything is super smooth. Yeah, it's wonderful. Very comfortable. Yeah, all right. So there's number two. Let's get this Kaiser back together and we'll call it a video. How about it? Oh, throwing stuff around. Calm down. There's another project I got. I I picked up a couple of these odd little knives to for these pocketknives, and I've got some hockey grip tape that I wanted to kind of I don't know, just sitting up here, been sitting around. I got another one. Here's this one, full tang. It's like a kitchen paring knife, but yeah, look at this grip. Wonderful little pocketknife. And what's this one? Oaksware. Yeah, beautiful knife. Wonderful. I mean, probably should just put it in my kitchen. I got enough knives out here as it is. Anyways, I know this is kind of casual, goofy video, but it is what it is. What it is. Yeah, here we go. Lots of components to this little Kaiser. That's okay. All right. Let's put it back together. We're going to start with this bottom. Got a pivot, and it is not captured. And I had just done a video on this knife, so everything in here is cleaned and lubed and tuned. Now I'll probably end up lubing it again, but I'm going to go ahead, now I'm thinking about it, I'm going to put that in and get a screw in it. I think it's a small screw. No, those are for the lock insert, so it's a regular screw. It's like this one. So, and that is 100% not that screw. Let's try one of these big head ones right here. Come on, man. Doesn't got to be difficult. It would help if I used the right size screwdriver. I've done that a few times. Just turning away, going, yeah, this thing's broken, something's wrong. And it's because I'm trying to use a T6 to put it in. Idiot. What a loser. Yeah. That part cracked me up in that movie. Probably because, humor's funniest when it's relatable, right? There's a chunk of truth in the humor, takes on that extra funny, right? All right. I can put that down, and I can put a washer on it. Just trying to get some of these pieces and parts out of the way. Let's put this other side together, get this lock on. This metal insert. Yeah, there we go. And interesting is the detent ball is actually mounted into the frame lock versus the metal insert. It's kind of different. It's not something you'd see normally. I'm not sure that I've ever seen it, except right here. So yeah, I'm puttering this morning. It is a Saturday morning, and everybody's off and about. But in short time here, we're going to be off to Kansas City. It's about 5 hours away. The girl is starting her new wrestling season tomorrow morning. Has a duel, and some of the best girls in the Midwest are going to be there. I should say, I don't know, Mid-South. Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri. I think there's maybe an Iowa team or two. Yeah, so have a full day tomorrow of wrestling. And that's always fun. Wife and I enjoy going and watching, and the whole environment. We dig it. And I will say that the girl seems kind of tuned up this year. She seems maybe a little different mindset, and we're looking forward to seeing how it translates for her into her competition. She's a junior this year. She's got this and one more year of high school. I'm going to put one screw in and check that action, because although I did not bend that lock bar, the frame lock, doesn't mean that it's not out of alignment, and too much tension or not enough tension, both could be true. Now that screw's not seating all the way, so I'm not quite sure. Yeah, that I just had to back the one out a tiny bit. Not sure, but it's there now. All right, let's check. Yeah, centered, wonderful. Yeah, I don't need to investigate that any further. It's pretty solid. Pretty nice. This tip is rounded, and I'm over it. Like, I don't like messing around with bad tips. I mean, if you're gonna take apart as many knives as me, I just get you a big thing of tips for sure. And when you get down to, you got like 10 left or whatever, buy another pack, because when you're doing this, man, fighting with, tips that aren't sharp and correct is an absolute nightmare. And all it takes to get a tip like that, it's not that they're bad tips. All it takes is to just not be paying great attention. And then when you're getting that final little tension on a screw, you got torque down on it, and you don't pay attention, and the screwdriver slips out, it'll roll that off. I don't care who makes the tip or the bit. That's going to happen. Oh, this thing is so nice. I mean, that's why I wanted to get that scratch out of it, because this knife is legit. Have to most definitely have to find the full video for this and put your eyes on it, because at the end I come back. It's one of those where I go, if you stayed to the end. I cut in and had about a minute of video, and it's me taking this knife apart and proclaiming, of course I can't leave it with a scratch in it. And because I clearly put it in there. I just got sloppy taking it apart, and the screwdriver slipped, and I was like, did I just scratch that knife? And sure enough, man, I did. And so the end of the video, I pop back in and go, yeah, I can't leave that like that. Yeah, come on. All right, let's get rid of stuff here. We'll wrap this video up. Oh, this makes me happy. Kind of fixed my damage. Make sure you find the full video on this one. The full videos on these are going to be pretty old, but you can find the video on this one and see what this used to look like. Matter of fact, one of the recent 2 rows of TwoSuns, I think, shows this knife as well. Or no, I think it's a row coming up. Yeah, it's a row coming up. And that's what got this one on my mind. I was like, because when I do those 2 rows of TwoSuns, there's some production time in it. Like, I literally have to go knife by knife and list them, because I don't know all those models. And it would be a horrifying experience on my end to have to pause, 20 times in the video and then go research the knife. So I do it ahead of time. And I did the whole case. So it was like 100 knives that I literally went knife by knife and kind of researched the knife a little bit, the model number, all that. Hey, here's that Kaiser shoal. And it's a smaller knife, but it's the baby brother of several models that are kind of the same thing, that are very Hinderesque. The jimping, normally there's some here, maybe back here, but then the fit in hand. And so watch for the full length video on this one, because man, is it a sweet piece. But I got that, I took care of business and got this scratch out of here, cleaned this knife up, and it is so good. And the polish, the sanding that they did on these compound grinds, this blade before they stonewashed it, it's a recurve and a hollow ground with a compound grind on the tip, and then they satin sanded it and put a satin stonewash on it. Very nice. And of course, you got the bench echo. Look at this thing now. And much deeper, using the die grinder. Got that in there really nice. But then I could have left it rough, but I said, nah, I'm going to put it in the tumbler, man. And it tumbled for about 6 hours. And so it is really smooth and comfy in hand. Wonderful. Really happy with it. It's just going to go back to the bench. But before I do, I think I'll leave it out here. The Trio. And then, of course, the TS, I believe it's a 17. And this thing's transformed now. Got all that paint off of the show sides anyways. Except for in here, and then the pocket clip. And it's kind of a neat contrast what's going on. So, yeah, I'm happy with this knife now. I could have left it plain. Like, I had it sanded. I used a orbital sander with, I think, like 100 grit sandpaper, and it put a really nice, interesting kind of stonewash looking finish on it. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought, man, I am gonna sand that completely smooth, and then I think I'm gonna, honestly, when I decided to re-up this one, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna kill that one. I'm just gonna put a pattern in it. And then, of course, I do that. It's up on the edges too. I didn't really reveal that, but all of that is up on all the edges too, so that as you grip the knife, you feel all that. It's affording some grip. And it's the same here on this one. A little more subtle. So I did it on this one, but then I came back and I sanded that. And so this one feels butter. Yeah. Wonderful. All right. So TwoSun, die grind, stonewash, tumble, CJRB Echo. This one's titanium. This is stainless steel, and honestly, these are harder to die grind. That stainless steel scale, it's tougher than the titanium for sure. And then I just fixed a little scratch on this one, and but I did tumble both scales for about 6 hours. Kind of changed, just slightly stonewashed this finish on this one. Anyways, appreciate y'all watching.